Welcome to the second step of Innover UK CE Wizard. As you are still a free user, we have skipped one of the key steps in this whole CE Wizard, a step where we set up the structure for your factory production control systems documentation, or the FPC systems documentation, and downloaded the most important file, the FPC manual. But don't worry, you can still go over this step. If you want to get an idea of what you're missing, we have included an FPC manual teaser that you can download through the link in the step-by-step instructions. From there, you can see how the FPC manual is designed, what kind of things we go over, and so on. This particular FPC manual has been made for structural steel products, but you still get a really good idea how the FPC manual would look like with these products. Just remember, we always fully customize the FPC manual for each product group. But I guess that's enough about the generalities, but just remember, if you decide to purchase this CE Wizard, you will be able to set up your FPC system properly and also download all the files mentioned in this training. In this step, we will go over the requirements that deal with the controlling your personnel. In short, the standard requires that you name the person who is responsible for the FPC system, define all responsibilities, authority, and relationship between your employees, and make sure that your employees have the appropriate qualifications to perform their work. To meet these requirements, you are going to need 3 documents: the FPC Manual Sections 1 and 3.1, R. Personal Qualifications and Organization, and D. Training Document. As a first step, go ahead and download the 2 documents from the right sidebar that have been made available to you. After you have downloaded these files, move the R. Personal Qualifications and Organization into the folder R. Resources. In this folder, we will store everything that has anything to do with human resources, but also files that deal with your manufacturing machinery and equipment, thus resources. And as for the D. Training Document, place it into the folder D. Quality Documents. Here, we will store all quality documents that needs to be filled so you can prove to your stakeholders that you are actually doing what you claim you are doing. In this case, the training document can be used to prove that you have trained your new employees for their work and that they have familiarized themselves with the FPC system. Even though you don't have access to our FPC manual as a free user, let's still see what kind of modifications would be required of you if you had the FPC manual. First, you would open the FPC manual and navigate to the section 1. Here, we will name the person who will be responsible for the FPC system. If you have several locations, name different person for each location. In most cases, this employee is also responsible for the CE markings. But if you think that this is too much for just one employee to handle, you can name another employee to be your CE marking responsible. After this, navigate to the section 3.1, where we have included a section that describes how you are planning to control your company's human resources. You will probably notice that this section, like majority of your FPC manual, doesn't require any modifications at all. It's kind of like specific enough to meet the standard requirement, but at the same time generic enough so we have been able to guess how your company operates. Now we need to fill out the Figure 2 organization chart that we use to define relationship between our employees. There is not really any proper way to do this. The good way is to place the name of the employee in the box who is in charge of the specific function. If you want to, you can always add more boxes both horizontally and vertically. These new boxes can include totally new tasks like billing, or go into more detail like cutting, assembly, and final inspection under manufacturing. Just make sure you fill it out, and after you're done, it should look something like this. After you have filled out the organization chart, make sure that the responsibilities in Table 3 are correct. Here, the key is to make sure that you define the employees who are responsible to intervene if there are any non-conformities. It is recommended that you'd authorize and at the same time require every single employee to intervene if there are any major non-conformities. In a way, we have included this table just to support what we will do next in the file R. Personal Qualifications and Organization. As one of the standard's mandatory requirements is to keep track of your employees' qualifications and experience, We have added a mention of this into the FBC manual. In addition, you may notice that we have included sections for identification of training needs and training of new employees in the FBC manual that we are not going to go over in this step. These are things that are highly recommended but are not absolutely mandatory for your CE marking. They are here in a way to remind you that you must teach the new employees that you hire how the FBC system works and also make sure that all your employees are qualified for their work. Now you can save and close the FBC manual as we are done with it. Next, navigate to the file that we downloaded previously called R Personal Qualifications and Organization. This document consists of two different tables that are Table for Employees' Responsibilities and Authority and Table for Employees' Qualifications and Experience. The first table, Responsibilities and Authority, is used to assign employees responsibilities and authority in your organization. Now assign the tasks listed in the table to someone. Naturally, you don't need to list each employee here, just the ones who have the ultimate responsibility for the given task. Also, include one or more assistants for each task. If you don't know who is the partly responsible employee, think it like this. If the responsible person is on a vacation, who will be the one covering for him? You can basically do this in any way you want, and after you're done, it should look something like this. The second table, Own Staff, is used to list your employees and record their experience and qualifications. Now list each and every employee who participates in one way or another in the order to delivery process. This includes design engineers, buyers, managers, human resource department, and so on. Technically, just list everyone here. After you're finished, the listing should look something like this. You might wonder what qualifications you should write down on the last column. In this case, you can decide and define the qualification requirements yourself. There are no written minimum qualification requirements in any of the standards. As long as you have defined the qualifications requirements and made sure these guarantee your employees are able to do their work, it's considered good enough. For example, the simplest qualification can be an internal training for the job. Now we are done with the standards requirement for your personnel. We have defined authority, relationship between your employees, and also made sure that your employees are qualified for their work. Before you can CE mark your products, there are still quite a few more steps to go, but they are more or less like this one. Not that difficult, wouldn't you say? As a free user, you unfortunately cannot continue this wizard any further. But I really hope that you consider purchasing the full version, and after that you will gain access to all the steps, documents, and training videos, and after you have completed the whole wizard, you're able to CE mark your products. So I really hope to see you in the next step.